Today's case is so horrific, and it has to be one of the sickest acts of domestic violence I have ever heard of till date. And I'm shocked that it took place right here in Australia. Marriage is not easy, and getting married young is even harder, but you enter into it with the best of intentions. You never expect the person you love to harm you or commit one of the cruelest acts of betrayal. Hi guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Zara, and on this channel we talk about true crime. So if you're interested, please join the fam and hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button too, it really helps out the channel, and share the video if you like. I wanted to jump in and thank Love and Pies for sponsoring today's video. Now, if you haven't heard of this game before, what have you been doing? Playing Love and Pies is the best way to wind down at the end of a long day for a cozy gaming session, but still keeping your creativity going. Now, you guys know I play a few mobile games, but this is the first game that I wake up and think, has my energy reset yet? Jay is like a real gamer, and I think it's so funny because he's so into the game too, but he's better than I am. So he's always helping me with strategy because I'm like YOLO and I use up all my energy in 10 minutes. Let me explain. So the game starts with your mom's cafe burning down in a mysterious way. Who did it? What happened? But now it's up to you to rebuild it from the ashes and uncover the secrets behind the fire. You can then bake treats for customers, earn coins to make the cafe your own. But then your high school sweetheart turns up at the cafe, and then all those old feelings come rushing back. The aim is to match ingredients to create pies and other baked goods, which you then serve to your customers. Customers then tip you, and you use those coins to finance all the upgrades and decorations for your cafe. What's amazing is that you can choose how you want your cafe to look. Obviously, mine is very pink. I've never seen that in a game before, and it's just so satisfying and rewarding to customize and decorate your cafe in your own way. The visuals are just so gorgeous, high quality graphics, and animations make it so fun. It's definitely the most beautiful game I've ever played. I love that the game keeps me busy baking, but at the same time, I'm rebuilding something and solving a mystery. So you guys are gonna love it too. So head down to the link in my description box below and download Love and Pies for free. Honestly, I know you guys are gonna love it like I do. And using my link also really helps out the channel. And if you reach day 3 within the next week, go ahead and claim your sweet treat of 200 energy and 50 gems. Thanks to Love and Pies for sponsoring today's video, and thanks so much to you guys for all your support. Arima Hayat was born in the year 2003 in Bangladesh to her parents Mahfuza and Abu, and was raised in a loving and happy family. Arima was always a kind, loving, and incredibly intelligent young girl. She loved makeup and liked taking photos and selfies, and would record everything on video. Arima excelled at school and was ambitious and hardworking, with goals to become a surgeon after completing her schooling. In the year 2006, her father Abu decided to travel from Bangladesh to Australia and find work, hoping to find a better life for his family. Abu lived in Australia for close to 6 years without his family, and whenever he spoke to Arima over the phone, she would constantly ask him, when are you going to bring me to Australia to live with you? He would tell her, I'm working on it, baby, and when I get my permanent residency, I will bring you both here. In October 2012, he was finally able to bring his wife and 9-year-old daughter to Australia for a fresh start. They went on to become successful migrants from Bangladesh, opening up their own halal butcher shop in Lakemba, a suburb in Sydney's southwest. Arima adapted well to her new life, mastering English and becoming an Australian citizen with her family. Arima soon had a baby sister whom she loved deeply, and they had a big age gap, so Arima treated her like her own baby and was very caring and very loving towards her. The entire family honestly just seemed to be very happy and loving towards each other. It was clear that they were really, truly very close. Arima went to Temp Girls High School and achieved an amazing HSC score of more than 97 in 2019 when she graduated. And due to her high score, she then began attending the Western Sydney University and studied science medicine, and in the year 2021 was in her second year at university. She also worked at Kmart in Marrickville and was very social with a big circle of friends. She was a happy, friendly, outgoing girl. She went out with her friends often. And like I said, she was very close to her parents, so much so that she would chat their ears off and take them out to eat, to go shopping and go to the movies. If you are from an immigrant family, you will understand that your parents don't go out and spend money on themselves. They usually want their kids to experience life, and then they naturally just miss out themselves. So it's nice to hear that Arima was so caring that she wanted her parents to also have fun. They were hard workers running their own business, not speaking fluent English. It would not have been an easy life to transition from Bangladesh to Australia, but they were successful both in their family life and their business. Around this time, I believe she was around 18 years old, and her parents noticed a change in her. Maybe she was more distracted or always on her phone, which isn't unusual for a teenager, and especially someone like Arima who loved taking selfies. She loved getting dressed up, going shopping for new outfits and makeup, but this was just different. They, soon found out that Arima had begun dating and now had her first boyfriend. His name was Mirage Zafar. Mirage Zafar was born in 2001 in Lakemba, Sydney, to a Pakistani-born father who was a taxi driver and a Pakistani mother who was a homemaker. And he attended Malek Fad Islamic School until 2011 when they were living in the suburb of Greenacre. But then he ended up moving to Belmore Boys High School in 2012, where he had to actually repeat year 11. And then he never ended up finishing his last year at school. So in Australia, year 12 is our final year of high school. So he only completed year 11. But year 11 and 12 are kind of important. Well, they are important because they give you your HSC score, and that score helps you get into a university. Mirage was a tall but skinny, almost scrawny teenage boy who, according to classmates, was just never interested in school, in studying, or any classwork. He was definitely one of the rowdier kids, the type of kid who was loud and disruptive. When other students wanted to study or listen, actually listen in class, he was that kid making the obnoxious jokes about the teachers and just trying to get attention always. He was always interested in girls getting their attention and would hang out with the girls from Wiley Park and Canterbury Girls High School. And after dropping out from high school, he began working in building as a tradie. That's what we call them here in Australia. And soon he started going to the gym. He actually became obsessed with the gym and the way he looked. He began to bulk himself up at the gym, and together with his height, he turned into quite an imposing figure. Friends from school who saw photos of him years later said he was almost unrecognizable. When Arima and Mirage met, their relationship progressed at just lightning speed. They fell in love quickly and had this intense relationship. They felt they shared mutual dreams and goals, and Arima really believed that her first love was her real love. I believe that once her parents found out about the relationship with Mirage, they were not happy. They just didn't get along with him. I guess Mirage was very confrontational and quite demanding when dating Arima, and her parents saw this as a bad sign, obviously. He was not the type of man they hoped for their daughter. You know what's wild though? So when Mirage started dating Arima, you would think that a natural way to introduce yourself to your girlfriend's parents, especially being the guy, like girls are usually a bit more protected in life, by their parents. So being the guy, you would think you would want to make a good impression. You would want to be respectful, but Mirage was not like that. He was like, come here, we're going here. And he was quite bossy. And obviously her parents seeing this was like, that's weird. They probably expected her to bring home a guy that was going to be respectful and trying to gain their approval. And the funniest thing is my dad, he was so strict growing up. Like he never wanted me to date. I think still he doesn't want me to be married. He probably wants me to live at home. But he was so strict about like the type of guys I would bring home. And I never brought any guy home apart from Jay. But I remember there was this one guy that liked me. And my dad was like, this guy comes from a good family and, like his parents are wealthy, you should date him. But I was like, no, I was already dating Jay at the time, but this guy was so into me and he would come to the house. My dad knew his parents. That's why he would come to the house. And he would just be like, let's go out. Come on, get in my car. And I was like, we were all friends with him. Me and my brothers were friends with him too. So like I would get in his car. He had a nice car. I would like go in the car. I wanted to check the car out. And then later on, my dad was like later on, this guy ended up dating someone else. And my dad was like, thank God you never dated him. He's such an asshole. And I was like, I told you. It's not necessarily like the guys that come from good family. Like the man has to treat your family well too and has to treat you well too. And Jay was like, we were like babies when we started dating. So Jay was not like that. He was really nice. And, so who made the best decision, Dad? Her parents noticed that as soon as she began her relationship with Mirage, she went from being this normal, sociable teenager who regularly told her family, how much she loved them and how much she wanted to spend time with them, to just being completely withdrawn. She wouldn't go out as much. She wouldn't hang out with her friends as much. She would slowly spend more and more and more time with Mirage and Mirage only. Mirage was controlling from the start of his relationship with Arima, as he towered over her. He pressured her to drink alcohol and was also rumored to take drugs. In May 2021, Arima was confronted by Mirage because he believed that she had been seen with another man. Arima obviously denied his accusations, and the two got into an argument which ended with Mirage strangling Arima. She later told her friends about this argument and that she fell unconscious during the attack. However, she didn't report this to the police. But Mirage apologized and consoled her, and she believed him. On October 8th, 2021, just a few months into their relationship, Mirage approached her father, Abu, at his home that evening. Despite knowing that her parents were wary of this relationship with their daughter, he told Abu that he intended to marry Arima. Abu told him that this was just not a good idea. Arima was only 18 years old. He was her first boyfriend, and the two had only known each other for a short period of time. Perhaps the better idea would be for the two families to meet, get to know each other at least. It was important to Abu that he at least met with Mirage's parents first. However, Mirage did not like this, and the conversation turned into an aggressive argument. At about 8:45 p.m. that same night, Abu started receiving calls from an unknown number. After the fourth call, he answered the phone, and on the other line was Mirage. He was extremely angry and he began yelling and swearing at Abu, threatening to harm him. He said to him, "Are you a man or are you a lady? Why can't you make a decision? I want a decision quickly or I will kill you." 2 hours later, Abu went to the Campsie police station where officers told him that Mirage had admitted to abusing this older man over the phone, his girlfriend's father. And following this admission, the police took out an apprehended violence order, or an AVO, against Mirage in favor of Abu. The AVO restricted Mirage from assaulting or threatening Abu or anyone he has a domestic relationship with, or from stalking, harassing, or intimidating him, recklessly destroying or damaging any property, or harming an animal that belonged to Abu. Mirage was also ordered not to approach or contact his girlfriend's father or go within 200 meters of the Hyatt's Western Sydney home or his place of work. However, as you can imagine, this AVO for a person like Mirage did more harm than good, because Mirage was restricted from even being close to Arima's parents and home. He convinced Arima to move out with him. Arima told her father that day that she wanted to marry Mirage and wanted to collect her things from their family home, which she later came and did. 3 days after the AVO was taken out, Arima and Mirage moved into their North Parramatta apartment where they began living together. After Arima left her parents' home to live with Mirage, her parents never spoke to her again. Her parents tried to appeal to the police to seek help in reuniting with their 18-year-old daughter, as obviously they too had to stay away from Mirage, but the police stated that nothing could be done as they were just, a young couple in love. Despite their relationship being deeply troubled from the start, characterized by frequent instances of violence, control, and emotional abuse, the couple had a secret Islamic wedding ceremony in October of 2021 without either of their families attending. Neighbors of the couple stated that Arima was a friendly girl who loved to listen to her music loud, and Mirage wasn't the friendliest, but was always coming or going from the gym. That's literally how they described him. But things, as you can imagine, only got worse once the couple got married. Mirage's controlling and violent behavior became apparent early on. He was extremely possessive and abusive towards Arima, isolating her and exerting power over her. He restricted her freedom, telling her that she was not allowed to leave the home without his permission. He verbally abused her, referring to his wife as a dumb bitch. In the text messages between the couple, Arima talked about Mirage bashing and beating her almost to death, being a slave, marrying an abusive guy, and even asking for a divorce. In one text to Mirage in December of 2021, Arima wrote, "Mirage, when people find out about us, you're going to jail for years and years." Mirage replied, "And who's going to find out?" In another message, Arima told Mirage she never wanted to have a son like him, to which he said, "We will have many sons, just like me." Arima went on to write, "I just don't want to say this to your face because I'm scared you're going to bash me again." But Mirage told her, "Baby, you need to let go of the past. Whatever I did was not me at all." Despite Arima clearly relaying her disgust towards Mirage's behavior, his controlling behavior, it persisted, and he continued to abuse his wife both emotionally and physically. Arima confided in her friends about her fears, about the violence she was enduring, even telling them that she wanted to divorce him. Evidence from text messages revealed that she had expressed her desire to end the marriage multiple times, and she had even threatened to go to the police due to the amount of violence she was enduring. She sent a photo to a friend of her facial injury in late November 2021 and said that she had regretted marrying Mirage, who had just bashed her. In December of 2021, she told a friend she was upset that there were photos of Mirage on another woman's Instagram account and said that he had lied to her about cheating on her. And again, she wanted a divorce. He also made her delete her IG account, by the way, so that no guy could contact her. But he had an IG account. On the night of January 29th, 2022, she again told her friend that she regretted marrying Mirage. And it's funny, right? These types of guys that are always accusing the women of cheating or meeting with other men, but that's usually from their own guilt, as they are the ones that cheat the most. But soon, Arima found herself pregnant. Cut off from her parents, Arima maybe felt ashamed to call them. After all, she was the one that made the decision to leave their home and be with Mirage. So instead, she called her relatives in the US, sounding upset in mid-January of 2022. She told her uncle that she was unhappy with Mirage and the fact that he drank alcohol and made her drink alcohol. She didn't want to do the same as she was studying for her medicine degree, but he would just insist. On January 29th, 2022, she messaged a friend saying, "I have nobody except you." And then again, she said she wanted to leave Mirage. Her friend responded, "You have got no choice. You have to stay with him." At 9:10 p.m., Arima wrote, "No, I hate him." Within 45 minutes of sending that text, Arima was dead. That night, Mirage entered the apartment he shared with Arima at 8:15 p.m. with groceries. Arima had finally told him that she was serious about wanting a divorce. She wanted to end this toxic relationship once and for all. Mirage was enraged. This conversation turned into a violent argument, which ended with Mirage either smothering or choking Arima. After killing his 19-year-old pregnant wife, Mirage was calm. He left the apartment at 9:55 p.m. and called a friend and said he got into an argument with his wife, that she scratched him and that they had a toxic relationship. He told the friend he married this girl last year and her parents didn't like him, but he only married her to have kids. He even told another friend, "I just killed someone. I swear to God that I killed someone," as he laughed. Mirage's actions after the murder of his wife showed an alarming level of calculation and just disregard for human life. He began browsing the web, asking Google questions like, "Can hydrochloric acid burn through skin? How many years do you get in Sydney for murder?" Further indicating his awareness of the gravity of his crime and his attempt to plan an escape. He decided to dispose of Arima's body in a manner that would just, erase all evidence of his crime. Mirage, who was a laborer, a tradie, he drove to Bunnings, Northmead, in his work truck at 10:24 a.m. the next day, Monday, 31st January 2022. He was captured on CCTV buying a 20-liter tub of hydrochloric acid. He then went back to the apartment, walked into the bathroom, and dumped the hydrochloric acid into the bathtub, where his dead, pregnant wife lay face down. He then drove back to the Bunnings that afternoon and bought 4 more 20-liter tubs of acid and poured them into the bathtub. He submerged his wife's lifeless body in the acid. The acid was intended to disfigure her body beyond recognition and ultimately cover up his crime. After he did this, Mirage calls his mother and tells her that he and his wife had been involved in an altercation, and that during this altercation, she had been knocked unconscious, that now she wasn't breathing. When his mother urged him to call an ambulance, Mirage refused, stating, "I'm not going to call the ambulance. I'm scared. The police will get me and they'll put me in jail." He was more concerned about avoiding his own arrest. During their conversation, he also inquired about the cost of buying a ticket overseas, contemplating fleeing the country. Following this, his mother called 000 at 4:32 p.m. requesting an ambulance to their apartment. Police arrived at the property and were forced to break down the door of the apartment, where they found the most gruesome scene, as you could imagine, in the bathroom. Arima's body was found face down in the bathtub, partially submerged in this brown liquid. Her face was distorted. Her body was distorted. The smell of the chemicals was overwhelming. And there were 5 large containers of acid nearby. The police actually had to evacuate the property due to the hazardous quality of the air, and then they had to return wearing masks and hazmat suits. The extent of the damage to Arima's body was so severe that the police had to use DNA testing to identify her remains. Only 1 foot of Arima's was left undamaged by the acid. Neighbors told police they had heard screaming coming from the apartment the night before. I just wish someone called the police that very night. But Mirage and his white truck were nowhere to be found. The next day, Mirage presented himself to Bankstown Police Station at about 12:20 p.m. after the police issued a public appeal for information and released an image of him driving in his truck. When he was interviewed by the police, Mirage allegedly described his relationship with Arima, saying that their marriage was, generally happy with normal arguments. He then told them he thought he looked good in CCTV footage of him buying the hydrochloric acid. Yep, he was then charged with murder and taken into custody. Mirage went to trial in April of 2022, and Arima's parents had to go through the entire horrific tragedy of their daughter's last months of life. Not only had they lost their daughter, but their innocent grandchild. The tragedy left Arima's family, including her 8-year-old sister, in anguish, unable to see her one final time or follow their Bangladeshi tradition of family viewing their loved one's face before laying them to rest in the ground. Instead, Arima's remains were wrapped in a blue cloth and a white shroud to be viewed and touched by her family members at the ritual farewell at Lakemba Mosque. The judge stated at Mirage's trial, he acted in such a way because of his anger and the prospect of Miss Hayat leaving him. This was against a background of controlling and violent behavior by the offender. The offense occurred in the home of Miss Hayat, where she was entitled to feel safe. In December of 2024, a couple months ago, at the age of 23, Mirage Zafar received his sentence. Arima's devastated father, Abu, told the court that Mirage had just shattered their family, their future, and their hearts. He said, "I miss my daughter every day and see her face in my dreams. He burned the face I used to kiss every night." Can you imagine someone burning your child? Arima's mother, Mahafuza, was inconsolable and had to have her statement read out by a support person saying, "There is no joy, no laughter, only suffering and pain. My tears are never ending and the deep ache in my heart never stops. Instead, I sit by her grave every Friday, stroking the grass because I can no longer stroke her hair. I kiss and hug her tombstone, longing to hold her and smell her." Mirage also wrote a letter to the court expressing his remorse, saying, "I don't know how to begin to say I'm sorry for all that I have caused and all that I have affected through my actions. It's the most terrible thing to do to someone." No shit. The judge pointed out that Mirage's reference to Arima solely as his wife rather than ever by her actual name during the trial was indicative of his possessive attitude towards her. For the murder of 19-year-old pregnant Arima Hayat, Mirage received a sentence of 21 years and 6 months with a minimum term of 16 years without parole. I mean, the reason for Mirage killing his pregnant wife was never really discussed in many of the articles. This was a very hard case to research to find out enough information, but basically it's believed that he did this because she wanted to leave him, because she was like, "I'm done," and because she was pregnant. He was like, "There's no way you're leaving me, A, and B, there's no way you're leaving me when you have my child." I mean, how it's better to kill someone in their minds rather than trying to make it work. Maybe trying to improve yourself, Mirage, is wild to me. It's just wild that so many women are in relationships like this. I've seen this. You can see it. When you're in public, you can see certain relationships that are like this. And I mean, what can you do? It's sad. They're strangers to you, but you don't know what they're going through. What do you guys think of his sentence? There's actually a change.org petition saying that he should actually receive life in prison. And what's wild to me is how these relationships are created. I mean, after months of knowing each other, obsession forms. Honestly, he seems like a pretty scary guy. And to be honest, will he be reformed in prison? The court thinks so, as they said he had a job, he was young, there was a good chance for him to be reformed. But what's scary is the actions he took, you know? Yeah, he could have attacked Arima in a fit of rage, killing her. But the acid in the tub, laughing about it to friends, it's really scary. Arima would have had a full, successful life. She was a change maker. She would have accomplished so much. She would have been a great mother herself. She came from this loving, happy, close family, and now her parents and her little sister will have to live life without her, all because of one man. It's really devastating. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys, and I will see you in next week's video. Besitos. Bye. Don't forget to check out Love and Pies, guys. Head to the link in my description box down below and download Love and Pies for free. And if you reach day 3 within the next week, go ahead and claim your sweet treat of 200 energy and 50 gems.